Hello, classmates. My name is Anthony Solis-Murphy, and I'm happy to report that this is our finals week, our home stretch, our last presentation, significant presentation. For this week's presentation video, I have chosen to report on the conquest of the New World, discussing Hernando Cortez and the conquistadors known as the Spaniards, and how they came to conquer the uncharted territory known today as Mexico, or back then it would be called Tenochtitlan. Um, Based off of chapter 14, I have concluded this event to be very unfortunate for the Aztecs and other colonial settlers that already took over the territory, beginning with the Spaniards' arrival from Cuba, led by Hernando Cortez and his small army known as the Crusaders, Conquistadors, Crusaders. Um, Once they had arrived to the Gulf of Mexico, Cortez and the conquistadors began marching towards Tenochtitlan, which is the capital of Mexico. They were in hopes of speaking with the ruler named King Montezuma. Montezuma was the leader of the Aztec tribe, and upon their arrival, he had ordered his men to not harm their guests, I guess you could say, not knowing exactly who Cortez and the conquistadors were, where they came from, didn't know anything about them. What they really thought was that they were sent from the gods. However, these people had never seen horses, let alone men on horses. I guess the present term today would be to describe their view would be imagining centaurs. I believe they would imagine them to be as one, a man and a horse, let alone having shiny armor. And they had never seen any of that stuff upon their arrival. So I would only believe that if I had never seen that stuff before and seeing it for the first time, it would definitely make me think and wonder if they were actually sent from God. So, I mean, I could see why they would think that, Shortly after their arrival, they asked Montezuma if they could speak. They had a celebration for them. Of course, with all the Aztec tribes around them, they wanted to get Montezuma alone, so they asked if they can speak to him in one of his rooms inside the temple. Montezuma, being respectful of the gods and the gods' wishes, thought it would be okay to do so. So therefore, he went ahead and did as they asked. So he walked with them inside the room, and as they were speaking, Cortez and his men actually took Montezuma hostage and began destroying Aztec religious shrines. Once the Aztecs tribe had figured out what Cortez and his men were actually doing, they knew that now they weren't guests in the home. They were actually invaders of the land looking to take over their territory. At this point, it sparked a fire in the Aztecs, and they fought together to drive Cortez and his small men, out of the city, which they successfully did, with Montezuma being not harmed. Once Cortez and his men were far enough away, they came in contact with enemy tribes of the Aztecs, where Aztecs were really known to be a powerful tribe that was dominatory to other tribes, and definitely made enemies. And Cortez thought, what a better way to gain a bigger army than teaming up with the enemy tribes of the Aztecs. Joining forces, he finally was able to conquer the land. Within months, the significant city and its temples believed by by the conquerors to be work of Satan, so therefore they had been destroyed. Uh, Even though the Aztecs were, uh, at a disadvantage, I believe that they, based off the readings and articles and looking up and researching, they definitely fought hard for their land. However, the Spaniards were well weaponized, they were well organized, they were well armored, protected. I mean, they had rifles, and the Aztecs had arrows, sticks, rocks, whatever they could. But I think the one thing that I took out of all of this was not only was it, the weaponization, the organization that the Spaniards had, but it was also the diseases. Believe it or not, the disease spread across the colonies and wiped out nearly most of the tribes during that time. The tribes had never dealt with any type of disease like the Spaniards had and brought. Once the conquistadors were, then satisfied with the territory being conquered and ruled by them, they were on their way to move down south towards the Inca Empire, and unfortunately, they received the same fate as the Aztecs. The Aztec tribes were, going back to the Aztec tribes, they were one of the most powerful during that time and in that territory. That it's just mind blowing to think that when someone, allows you to come into their home and then immediately within seconds can be, turned on you and looking to not be your friend, but to take everything you have, to, kill your people, kill your tribe, kill you, is a scary thing in history, and I don't know, I just thought that this was very significant to reflect on, because it stood out to me a lot, and with a lot of like my heritage coming from Mexico, and even though I've never been, I would like to go and visit these temples, and I've heard amazing stories about them. That this is all where it technically started. With the Spanish invading, Brazil, speaking Portuguese. This is all in relations to Cortez and the conquistadors coming in and wiping out, anybody who stood in their way. But I just thought I would just reflect on this and make it as my final presentation. But hope you like it, and best of luck to everyone, and thank you.